Hey friends, so we're going to do chocolate delight. I want to explain a lot of different details tonight, so it's a bit of a long vlog. Bear with me here, I'll try and get through it as quickly as I can. Know that many of us use chocolate delight on the HCG protocol. Some people have great benefits from it and some people don't, and so you need to proceed with caution. You need to start with small amounts and then work your way up to the larger amounts, and know that if you can't use it in P2, you can use it in P3. You just have to try it out. Use it on a day that you're only trying one new thing. Don't try anything else new that day, and then gauge and see what the scale says to you the following day. I will post the recipe along with the nutritional information, and before everybody freaks out, make sure you watch the whole vlog. If I can get through this vlog, then it would just be in this vlog, and if I can't, then I'm going to have a part 2 that talks about the nutritional value and the benefits of using coconut oil and MCTs. So in reviewing the coconut oils, there are many different brands available. I tend to buy whatever's on sale right now. This is the one that I have in my kitchen. It's solid. I keep it next to my stove in a glass container, just like a butter dish. And it is expensive, but our bodies are, we get one. So look into it, because it is something that you're going to want to introduce. I think as more and more people become aware of the benefits of its use, it will become more widely available. If you don't like the taste of coconut oil, you can use the refined version. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked that deep into it to see the difference in the benefits between the unrefined and the refined. But I do know that the refined doesn't carry that coconut taste. And I will tell you that I have family members that aren't fond of the coconut taste, but they've gotten used to it as I've started to cook with it, and actually like it in quite a few dishes when I saute fish or vegetables with it. So introduce it slowly to your family, and I'm sure that it's something that they'll become accustomed to. And so right now, I have this particular coconut oil in liquid state. You can put it in the microwave to get it to become liquid. If you're not a fan of the microwave, you can set it on the stove in a large pan of boiling water, and it will quickly become in its liquid state. To the 1 cup of coconut oil, we're going to have a 1 tablespoon serving of agave. It's 1.5 times sweeter than sugar, and it dissolves in cold food or beverages. And it's optional. You don't have to use it in this recipe. I've just tried many different ways, and I've found that I like it with the agave nectar. If you don't want to use the agave nectar, you can use the Torani. Which is a sugar-free caramel. And it's everything, 0 calories, 0 fat, 0 sugar, 0 protein. So we're going to add 1 tablespoon of that to our coconut oil. And you're going to want to whisk that together along with a dropper full of liquid stevia. I prefer the vanilla cream. So I shake that up and add a dropper. You can also use English toffee. And you want to stir it really well so that it's all incorporated. So again, 1 cup of coconut oil, 1 tablespoon of agave, and 1 dropper full of the stevia vanilla cream. So I'm going to set that aside. It can sit for, depending on the time of the year, you want it to kind of sit for a bit. Some people recommend letting it sit for an hour. I let mine sit for an hour, and because it's so cold, it went right back to a solid state. The other day, Not Enough Hours was asking about the difference between cocoa powder. And so I wanted to kind of review that just a little bit, just to throw it out there. And that there could be a whole nother, again, vlog just on cocoa powder and cocoa powder. So this is Hershey's Cocoa. This is Hershey's Special Dark Cocoa. Here is Ghirardelli's Premium Unsweetened Cocoa. Another brand is this raw cocoa powder. This is a whole nother vlog to review. This new push towards the raw food, and I read a very interesting post on this tonight. So very different concept. It's processed in a different way. It just happened, I just found it in my pantry, so I wanted to throw it out there so you guys could see that. This is the mistake that a lot of people will make. Here is the Ghirardelli hot cocoa. This is Premium Unsweetened Cocoa by Ghirardelli, and this is Premium Hot Cocoa by Ghirardelli. They're right next to each other. You do not want the hot chocolate. This is hot chocolate that has sugar in it. In fact, there's 31 grams of sugar in it. So read your labels. Just get used to reading labels. It's really important. Unsweetened cocoa. If all else fails, just stick to Hershey's. And then one twist of something that I add is carob powder. And let me just kind of review some benefits of carob powder. It's lower in fat, but higher in calories than unsweetened cocoa powder. It contains less protein, iron, magnesium, and phosphorus, but it contains quite a bit more fiber and 3 times the amount of calcium. Unlike cocoa, it doesn't have caffeine. So many of you are sensitive to caffeine or don't want caffeine in your diet. And then it has a unique taste. It's sweeter than cocoa, but not as flavorful. So it adds a different, it has a different texture, it has a different taste, and I have just found that I like adding it. So I add these in 1/3. I do 1/3 of the unsweetened Hershey's, 1/3 of the Special Dark Hershey's, and then I do carob powder however you can find it. Typically you will not find it in the grocery store. You would find it in a health food store. If you cannot find it or you don't like it, you'll smell it and you'll recognize it. It has a distinct smell. You can do half and half of these, and that's just fine. If you can't find the Special Dark, then you can use just straight unsweetened cocoa powder. So there's just a lot of options I'm throwing at you. Don't get discouraged by all of that. And so what you want to do is you want to sift your cocoa powder, your carob, and then your Special Dark cocoa powder. It needs to go through a sifter to make sure that all the pieces are in a fine form so that there's no chunks, because the chunks sometimes can have a bitter taste to them. To that we're going to add our stevia. This is our powdered stevia, different from the liquid stevia. So this is what I have on hand right now. You can use 8 packets of the stevia or 1 tablespoon. Here's something else I have. This is just a larger form. So 8 packets of the powdered stevia or 1 tablespoon of the powdered stevia sifted in and mixed with your cocoa. In addition to that, I like to add cinnamon, the Saigon cinnamon. Here is a large bottle from Costco. I add 1 teaspoon of that. And I add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and I sift that all together. The next thing I'm going to do is add the liquid to the powder, the sifted powders. So we're gonna whisk the whole thing together. Here's what it looks like. So it's very liquidy, and let me tell you, this stuff makes a mess. A huge mess if spilled. So you do not want to spill it out of the bowl, but you do want all of the powder form to be combined with the liquid oil. So here's what it looks like. It's really drippy. It's not like brownie mix where it clings to the whisk. It's definitely drippy. Now, if you let it sit for a while, it's going to solidify. And so this isn't a recipe you walk away from. Okay, here comes the part that everyone's going to scream about. This is my recipe. This is my take. I've watched a bunch of them and tried a bunch of them, and this is just the way that I like it. If you don't like it, you don't have to put it in. You don't have to try it. If it just makes you cringe or it freaks you out, it's okay. You don't have to do it. So, sour cream. Okay, if everybody's done freaking out, I'm gonna add sour cream to my chocolate delight. There is no dairy in P2, but many veterans discuss adding a tablespoon of dairy to your HCG protocol in P2 in order to keep your body from having adverse reactions to adding dairy back in later on, especially if you're doing repeated rounds. So go ahead and research it. If you read the protocol, you'll see that Dr. Simeons is actually talking about non-fat options of dairy available to those that don't eat meat and want to add cottage cheese to their diet. And he discusses that as being an option. Okay, as soon as you add that sour cream, it's going to become much more like a brownie mix. And so it's very important to be prepped and ready to go. There are many different flexible forms that are available out there. You can buy these individually. I think I got these at World Market and fill the forms up this way. You can also use an ice tray and then freeze them and just pop them out.